Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Mob Psycho 100, Season 2, Episode 3. Oh!
Alright.
We've been dealing with a bunch of urban legends.
Paranormal activity.
Yes.
But
and
now...
last time we were in the third episode of the season, back in Season 1.
They started to pick things up.
They started to take things in a more linear direction, specifically with regards to the introspective nature of Mob's character and how his emotions are locked behind barriers.
In addition to the whole introduction of Dimpa.
Yes, this is also true.
Dimpa-san.
So there's been a couple things I would say they've been foreshadowing a little bit, and it's more so I'd say along the lines of Mob's powers.
Yes.
And kind of how psychic powers work in general.
Sure.
Kind of little things that they've been
Spanning
seeding
the
a little bit in the first two episodes here. But yeah, again, kind of an open slate as to what they decide to fill this third episode with.
Maybe some body improvement club.
Maybe some body improvement club. Maybe some more stuff with the development of the relationship with Emmy.
Sure.
Some more things with Reagan, obviously.
Main.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of things they can do. But yeah, it's Mob Psycho. So without further ado, let's get into it. Psychics. What? Oh, dang.
Dang.
What? This crappy website?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, interesting. Get ready to set me off, Mob. Get ready off, Mob. Get ready to set me off, Mob. Get ready. Coming down. Can you feel your satisfaction? Your Mob. Can you feel your frustration? Coming down. Can you feel your satisfaction? You're a Mob. And you want to be get down. Doing the wave.
Yes. All the body improvement.
Get ready. 9.9. 99.9. Could I my life? Could I my sight? Could I my heart in such uncommon places? Is that your deed? Is that your mind? The muscle in the other Tokyo, the mob inside. The mob inside. The mob is the latent untruth. Is that your duty? Is that your why? The muscle goo. Oh, your life is your own. Get ready to set me off, Mob. Get ready, you know never have, Mob. Get ready to set me off, Mob. Get ready. Down. Awesome. That was great. Oh, one danger after another degeneration. Oh my. Oh my God. No. What the hell? Yeah, nobody has to. He's gonna give him the most like scam like. Oh. I have a bad feeling.
Does Mob have someone who wants to curse?
But we already had tough stuff talking about people's belief, you know? Exactly. Yeah, good. Oh, that's good.
Poster in the background.
Right. Oh, good. This is mob-related stuff. So she's being haunted. Okay. Oh, there's something. Okay.
Shouldn't matter, he's a spirit.
Yeah. Oh, we're having an event. Here we go. Oh, this might just be an earthquake.
Yeah, it was an earthquake.
Oh! There's something. Really? Oh. Oh. So he's got psychic powers. Yeah.
Oh, that escalated quickly.
That escalated really quickly. Yeah, Reagan! Best sensei!
Say no to violence. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Huh.
Oh, okay. That is interesting.
Yep.
Oh, their site is popular. Jeez. Do they want, like, spiritual bodyguards?
I guess.
Right now, my dude!
They were about to ask him how much he makes.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's also validating his efforts there in two. So it's a 2-for-1 because they were about to invalidate it also. Oh shit! Yeah. No. This is something that could be legit, and it would be funny if it was, because they have nothing to worry about because Mob's there.
Right.
But Mob is a little bit, kind of. There's something going on, Oh. Right. Are we gonna see something in the photo, like, afterwards?
Maybe.
That would be sweet. TYVM, really? You still wasted my time.
Yeah.
Wait, and they're driving away. Wow. But there is something out here. Oh, Mob can sense it. Oh, that's freaky. Just the staring up into the darkness, just... What? Oh, Dimple's doing that. Wow. 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 Dimple. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Oh. Oh. Because now he thinks it was Mob that did it. Oh! Yes! Yes! They're not gonna do anything. They're just gonna stand here.
Crush him with his...
With their massive muscles. Yeah. Oh, damn. Hey, what are you even doing here? Oh, wait. He's in the club now. What am I talking about? Oh.
That's...
Oh, see? This is all thematically tied in because of using your power against people.
Huh.
Against people that are, like, worthless, basically. Wow. Pay up front.
And for the previous job.
And for the previous job, yep. Whoa. You have to choose one of our packages? Yes. Oh, dang. This really unsettled them.
Yeah.
Oh, Dimple's trying to egg on also his emotions.
Yeah.
Maybe this is Dimple. Like, Dimple's been surprised. And it's a kid. Like, it potentially is a kid. Okay. Oh. Whoa. Oh.
Wow.
Oh, dang. Whoa. And he's noticing this.
Uh-huh.
今の聞きました師匠。いや俺には何も悪さしないって言ってますし家族だし。
ちょっと必要あるから頼んでるんですけどプレイしちゃってよ。
Oh.
マブどうしたんだ。
Oh.
平和に暮らしたいだすなんてこと。
Good. Cool.
Yeah.
いいからさっさとやれよ。
Oh.
先生、私たち本当に困って
You don't need any of this. This is just.
要望は最優先するものだ。
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Reagan.
Reagan?
この尊厳があるとしたら、ましく暮らし
Is he saying that he's thinking this?
Yeah.
He's thinking this.
そこに土足で踏みとモブに
So it has to get him to
So-
try and make him think that he's going
恐
to.
怖心も本物だ。どうする。
家族を守るために蓄えた力の奴らを取り殺したらどうだ。依頼人が死ねば除霊をする意味もなくなるから。
Oh my god!
So Dimple needs to be put down.
Dimple.
静かに暮らしかねえって。
Whoa!
Oh.
Oh my god!
Oh, this is...
No, he's not
Okay,
gonna do
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, he's begging for his. Like, please don't do this.
お父さん。
Whoa! Oh. Wow.
モブ、例はまだ何か言って。
Because Reagan didn't say that other stuff out loud, he just thought it.
どうしたモブ。オーケー、わかった。除霊はよそうって命令してるわけじゃないんだ。
Okay, good.
別にいいんだぞ。
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ないんだ。きっと
Yeah, they might not.
感情に任せていいわけがないんだ。
Oh.
いつまでやってんだよ。
Reagan's like, that did it.
Yep.
終わりだ。
Oh, good job, Reagan. Yes. Good, 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 good.
あいつは人よりできることが多いんだ。あいつにとっては同じような距離に
Right, right.
雑な仕事をしたせいだ。
Wow.
そばでも食うか。
Oh, okay, okay.
All right, all right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to treat Mob nicely and, like, realize that there's a real connection here.
あれでいいのかよ。
That gave me chills.
地味で
Hey, they didn't pay him for the last one.
何震えてんだ。あ、首かよ。
Oh.
背中に何かついてんぞ。いや、誰かに呪いを向けられたな。
But what if that was Mob?
Yeah.
取ってくれ。あいつは俺たちにも見えないような本当に怖いものを。もし僕が誰かを呪いたくなったら、もし
Oh.
僕が犯罪に力を利用したら、霊じゃなく人を殺したいなんて考えてしまう。懲らしめてくれるのかな。
Oh.
モブはこの2日間の出来事について少し考えすぐ寝てしまった。
Wow, 67%.
Holy
Oh my
crap.
gosh.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Yo, guys.
That was intense.
That was scary.
Yep,
I'm glad they're
uh-huh.
getting into this because Mob has always been kind of the last mystery, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, there's that whole thing with Claw and the super secret organization and all that. And it's like, yeah, they're
super
probably all
secret
out
weapon,
there and
yeah.
stuff. But it's like, no. Mob
Oh, yeah.
has his emotions that, if he lets them out of control, will lead to some scary things happening.
Yep.
So he still has his complex of just, you know, trying to keep that in check. But when he starts feeling genuine, like connection to the spirits and stuff that he's, you know, exercising, he doesn't want to violate himself by, like, essentially murdering them.
Right, of course.
But everyone else is just like, yeah, it's no big deal. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. And the fact that Reagan didn't say what he was thinking out loud.
Yeah, that's true. That was probably Mob unconsciously doing it to Reagan.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
I hope we get to see Hanazawa again.
yes. It's been a while. Ooh,
what an episode!
This was an episode.
Oh.
Like,
wow.
There's chills that you get from the spiritual kind of weird aspect of it. Yeah, but then there's also the aspect of Mob's character growing and also focusing on specific things that
questioning and wrestling
lead to
with
some certain things. Because remember, Mob is under the assumption still, that Reagan has psychic powers.
Yes, and that he must never use his powers on people.
Never use his powers on people.
Yeah.
The worst thing that could happen to Mob is if he ends up becoming his own worst enemy.
Right. Because that's really his only enemy.
That's really his only enemy. Yeah. And if we think about this show and how it's formatted, that has to happen at some point in the story. Like, you can't waste that opportunity. Like,
I mean, they could if they were wanting it to be a different kind of show.
But it's not.
The thing is that it's not, because with season 1, it was very happy-go-lucky for a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
But then they started doing the things with Ritsu and everything.
His backstory.
Exactly. And
Get a clue, Mob.
Right. And they started going into things that were a bit more sinister, a bit more serious, a bit more dark. And they handled that dichotomy really well, of having both sides of it, right?
Yeah.
So it's logical to assume that they're going to keep that moving forward.
Yeah, Reagan represents the goofy side and also the caring side for Mob.
Right, yeah. But there's other aspects to it too, and one of the things that I was kind of wondering about when I was just thinking about the idea of Mob Psycho Season 2 is how they would get that serious element carried forward, right? Because the whole thing that happened with Ritsu, that was one of the best things in Season 1.
Yes.
Because the thing is that they didn't need to have that. They could have not had that, and it still would have been a really fun show.
Right.
But it was that made me basically start to really take the show seriously.
Yeah.
Right? Which then made everything that happened with Reagan later that much better.
Oh, totally. Yes.
Because then, like, when there's the 1000% and all that stuff, that was just like, yes.
Reagan, best sensei.
Indeed. And it made Mob's plight feel real. Right?
Yeah.
Now that they're going into this, it's like, wow, okay, we're doing this right off the bat. Because in Season 1, we had Hanazawa before we had stuff with Ritsu.
Well, we had the LOL cult first.
We had the LOL cult,
and
right?
That
was
introduced Dimple.
That introduced Dimple.
But that also introduced the whole idea of Mob's emotions being suppressed in such a way specifically because of their tie-in to his explosion of psychic,
First, you must learn
chaos.
to trust your feelings. Then you will be invincible.
Yes. And in this case, we are now getting into Mob's introspection regarding the using of psychic powers at all. Because if the original rule was you don't use your psychic powers on people, but the line between spirits and people is starting to get gray. It's starting to get blended a little bit. What is the difference between using them on a human being versus a spirit? Don't both have free will? Isn't Mob essentially ending their opportunities to live freely and happily?
What would happen if Mob had destroyed the spirit earlier that was doing the peeping when it was an out-of-body experience of a person?
Exactly.
Then that would have essentially killed the person, probably. I'm guessing that's probably the kind of things that are going through his head.
And thankfully, he can sense the difference.
Right, he can sense the difference. But the thing is, like, Mob is the type of person that when Reagan says, don't use your powers on people, he doesn't take that as don't use your powers violently against people. He just doesn't use his powers in any way that affect people. When Hanazawa was strangling him, he did not defend himself. It wasn't that he didn't attack back. He didn't even defend himself, right? That's how seriously he takes this. So the fact that they bring this up is huge.
Yeah, in fact, it's to the point where him using his powers against Claw back in Season 1 was something that he had to be like, really like moved to make sure that this was going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ends up being a thing where he goes to 100% when they're in other fights where he actually ends up using his powers against people. So those are essentially when the the power essentially takes over him, and that becomes less of him and more of a kind of a persona of him. And or they essentially cross the line because they initiated the use of psychic powers against him or people he cares about. And I think that made it okay.
Right, where he was doing it, because the thing is, I'm pretty sure that I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was that he wasn't willing to use them to save himself, but he was willing to use them to save others.
Right.
But he still didn't want to, right? So hence the whole thing with Reagan. Wow. Yeah. So they're going into this, and this is episode 3. So they'll be able to deal with it a lot.
Yeah. There's some big things they can do with the separation between humans and spirits, because one of the things that I think that they're also blending together is the difference between psychics and spirits, specifically with regards to the powers that they use.
Yeah.
And this was something that they did in episode 1 when the skull thing manipulated the vines. It used a psychic link essentially to command them.
Right.
And a physical object. It linked itself to them as physical objects. And possessed them essentially. Mob essentially just overwrote his command to possess them or whatever with just
them himself. Yeah.
Yes. And there's no difference between the two powers used there essentially.
Right. And
Mob I think noticed that. Mob noticed that and was like,
it's not so clear cut anymore.
It's not so clear cut anymore.
Right. And the thing is that he is so terrified of this whole idea of it not being clear cut because, well, the smallest of decisions for Mob can have long-reaching consequences.
Very much so.
So it's kind of something that weighs heavily on his mind. He doesn't do things lightly.
Yeah.
So
he's internalizing this, and it's very heavy.
And the fact that Reagan, the stuff that he was saying was not actually said out loud.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That's
because he was worried about the clients more so than Mob.
Right.
And that's something that unfortunately is Reagan's main weakness, is that he is still the scam guy, you know. And the thing is that he knows it's legit. The scam part is that he has anything to do with the actual psychic stuff.
And the whole stuff that he did with, being like, hey, Mob, yeah, it's okay, totally, like...
Yeah, don't worry about it. We don't have to do this.
I'm not going to...
Yeah.
Right, let's go get some soba. It's that's great, but the thing is...
Before that, he had just said the customer's priorities come first, or the customers are a higher priority.
Right,
in that moment, Mob's eyes went wide as he was like, wait, what?
Not you too, yeah. And the thing is that in that moment, the part where Reagan was thinking and going through good stuff, but not saying it... Mob didn't hear that, so that's the only thing that he heard. And then he heard a whole lot of hesitating and pregnant pause where it's like, so are you going to get on with it?
I think in that time he was cursed by Mob.
Yep. Yeah.
The twist is definitely going to be that Mob's emotions are now becoming also, I would say, a little bit more under his control.
Well,
but let me explain what I mean by that. Is that there's been up until this point, there's been a very clear separation of the power that he has when he has let his emotions run wild versus when he hasn't. He's extremely strong in both cases.
Yep.
But what I think is now going to happen here is he's going to let his emotions just kind of
bleed through a little bit.
Leak out and bleed through a little bit.
Which is
good.
Right.
This is good. This is a healthy, normal human thing to do.
You got to deal with that sort of stuff. But there's a double side to that. Because the thing is that his question when he was taking his bath is what happens if, the whole thing about like cursing people and all that stuff. He was thinking about that as if, well, I haven't done any of that, but what if I got to the point where I wanted to? Would that be something that I would get yelled at for? So... he probably, assuming that the curse was his, had no idea,
no intention,
no idea that he did that. That could also cause issues if he realizes that he actually was the person who did that. So
And we don't need him to have any more shame or guilt in his life.
So the fact that we got the Body Improvement Club this episode was great, and we need more of that because I feel like they cover any weaknesses that Reagan does have, and they are few and far between. But any weaknesses that Reagan does have, and especially in this situation where Mob might need more like a normal person's opinion, someone that doesn't have psychic powers, or spiritual powers, right? Because Mobs are psychic and Reagan's are spiritual, or however that goes. Being able to talk to the Body Improvement Club about it, I think, will be really good.
I agree.
Although, do they know that he's a psychic? Yeah? No?
I mean, okay, hold on. No. The Body Improvement Club came to Hanazawa's school.
Yeah, that's right.
Fought all the other guys before getting handled by Hanazawa, but the thing is, Hanazawa would like punch them, kick them. He didn't telekinetically like lift them up in the air. And
I think in the first season, Mob might have like levitated a bunch of the weights or something like that.
Well, that was with the telepathy club.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So they know about this, but I think the Body Improvement Club, he very much wanted to separate his usage of psychic powers because he wants to develop who he is as a regular person.
Like, if he did talk to them and be like, "Hey guys, so I have these psychic powers, I can do all this stuff," and they'd be like, "Whoa, that's awesome!" You know,
I think they'd be like, "That's amazing."
Yeah.
Make sure to steward those abilities well.
And you still dedicate yourself to
improving your body,
improving your body, even though you don't need it to do anything really. That's wonderful, and then he talks to them about the the struggles and stuff, and I'm kind of upset with my sensei and all this stuff. I feel like they would be the perfect people to talk to.
I think there's a lot of good people in Mob's life now, comparatively to in season 1, where he wasn't aware that they existed, and now he's going to be able to rely on them. The question is
will he rely
on them, or will they have to kind of push a little to see if he's willing to let them help him?
Because since they are in sort of a different world from him, the things that they just naturally do and the way that they talk gives him a different impression, right?
Yes, that's true.
It makes him think that maybe they're, I can't talk to them about everything because they wouldn't understand, or they would,
Very true.
They think about things differently and all that stuff. But really, he just needs to reach out. Maybe not to Dimple, but
No, Dimple. Okay,
like
I gotta say, this is something that we have to remember where Dimple came from. Dimple started a cult for the purpose of gaining power.
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing
mind control cult.
There's nothing really good about Dimple. Like, this is something that's, I think, also important to bring up. Dimple is a representation of Mob being unwilling to actually kill.
Yes.
And that's kind of important.
Although he has threatened it.
He has definitely threatened it. But this is something where I think it's now shaken a little bit of Mob's who he is. And this is something I think also that ties in a little bit to episode 2. So when the Dragger was revealed to be the conjuration of the thought energy of the masses, what I think that also kind of made us, or at least made Mob maybe a little bit aware. Maybe he's smart enough to think about this through from a kind of a standpoint of, wait a minute, like, how is that possible? How does that even work? What I think he might have realized is that in some ways that makes kind of everyone a little psychic.
Yeah.
Or there is some kind of psychic energy out there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of...
Yeah, if you logic that out too much.
Yes.
With just sort of like you could get to some pretty scary extremes.
Yeah, and him being worried about him using his powers in such a way that is evil.
Right, like imagine if he ever got to the point where he equated spirits with people.
Yep.
Then he basically says, Reagan, you have been paying me next to nothing to regularly
commit homicide.
Commit homicide.
Yeah. Now it would be like ghosticide or something, but the
point is that if he ends up not seeing the distinction, then at that point it's like, well, why? So okay, these people doing bad things,
Yeah,
I'll just get rid of them.
I just want to say, if Mob Psycho, if I want to go big picture here. If Mob Psycho was created to be this extremely slow burn roundabout Akira like inspired story, I'm going to be extremely impressed.
I will be extremely heartbroken as well.
And I will be bawling on the floor with you because here's the thing about Mob. He is the sweetest boy. He is the sweetest boy. We forget the things that happened when he was a kid. Like, remember, those happen.
Yeah.
Those don't like just
those
disappear.
people we're pretty sure are dead. Like,
yeah. Like, that's not a huge stretch of the imagination, even though there was no like.
Pretty sure there was blood.
Yes, there was blood, but we never really went back and saw exactly what happened.
Right.
Because we don't have to. But this explosion coming from Mob, that's coming. It is coming.
Yep.
I feel like what it's going to do, in some ways, is separate Mob from people. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing that's the next step for Mob. That's a little scary. Is he'll begin to see himself as not human.
Right, and in a lot of ways he kind of already does.
Right,
and that is not what he needs right now.
That is not what he needs right now.
Everything that is happening, like, he has so many good people in his life that care about him. But
they're not perfect.
They're not perfect. Right? They can't read his mind.
And we saw actually instances of where actually the Body Improvement Club kind of overstepped their bounds a little bit.
Sure. Yeah,
like,
or Ritsu, or
Oh, Ritsu definitely.
Yeah,
we know Ritsu did, but the thing is that Ritsu has always been kind of in a gray area, and that's okay.
Yeah,
I think in some aspects, because Ritsu is his brother, there's a little bit of a, oh, well, he means well. Ritsu's a good boy. Ritsu can do no wrong. Mostly, I think, because he spent so much time. It's his brother,
sure.
you know?
And it's the whole thing of he's constantly sort of had to fight Mob's battles for him because Mob doesn't want to.
But Reagan, and kind of by extension, the Body Improvement Club, the Body Improvement Club didn't need to surround him like that.
No, I actually think that was. I
think that was good?
That was perfect because that. Okay. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. There comes a point where the impassioned speeches, or the not impassioned but just, calm and resolute speeches, don't reach people.
Oh,
right?
Totally.
And in a situation like this, something had to be done, right? And I don't think anything short of the Body Improvement Club shoving their pecs into him.
Yeah, I consider that to be almost the same thing as what Ritsu or Dimple did.
Gotcha.
If you think about what they all did, they all restrained the bully using their own means.
Right.
But in a means by which the bully can do absolutely nothing but let it continue until they decide to stop.
Sure. That is a great way of...
completely powerless.
Yeah, that is a great point.
In the same way in that Mob, if at any point he wanted to enact his will upon another person, there is nothing, there is no one,
right?
As far as we know, there's no one, could actually stop him.
Actually, there is this one person called Michael.
No, I'm more thinking of
Mick doesn't exist.
Yeah, I got the joke, but I'm more of thinking like this is actually a great kind of segue here, as I've been thinking about Claw. Claw seems now so weird to be even in the story now that I think about it, but this is actually a very real way that Claw could get introduced again.
Oh yeah?
Is that Mob does something. And he freaks out. He's like, no, this is not who I am.
Yeah.
And he runs, and then it's revealed that Claw's been watching him basically all this time. Yeah, and they're like,
maybe that show person or whatever.
Yeah, that kid, the redhead kid, just comes up and is like, hey, if you want, you want to be with some people that understand you and that also understand the role that we have with all those things that only us that can see, come with me.
Right, and
there's a lot of cool things that they could do there.
Yep.
And it also fulfills the theme of people manipulating and using Mob for their own selfish reasons.
Yep.
And I love that Reagan made a slight mistake here, because it wasn't huge.
Right.
Like his head was in the right place. He just had a moment's hesitation where he slipped up and said the wrong thing.
And it took him a little bit too long to basically say...
correct himself.
Yeah, to correct himself, yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, if you think about it, as far as mistakes go, that's really small.
That's really small.
Mob
hangs on
worships
every word
Reagan.
Reagan says.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot abuse that connection
exactly.
in the slightest.
Like,
so I love that the curse is probably from Mob. Like, are we in agreement that that's probably from Mob?
Yep.
It fits so well with the introduction of the Stalker character with the mild psychic powers that...
and the way that Mob was like, well, why is it suddenly so much worse, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because then, you know... Then it's like, oh, let's say he finds out that he put the curse on Reagan.
Yep.
You know, and then he sees himself as being that same kind of person, right?
Right.
And of course, Reagan would handle it very
Reagan
well,
would be like,
of course.
dude, it's okay, it's okay. Like, he'd be so much in his head, it wouldn't matter. Like,
Right.
Oh.
So, yeah.
One of the things that's also really cool about this is I think Mob Psycho is one of the best fun shows to go into the whole subject of mental health.
Yes.
It is a very tough thing to do in stories, to have mental health be a huge point of conflict in the story without belittling it.
Right.
Or
with getting so
heavy and stuff that it's not actually entertaining anymore.
Right.
And it feels actually like wrong that they make any of it a source of entertainment.
Right. But the amount of levity that they have in here with, like, because the thing is, Mob is in such a positive environment.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, so, like, holy crap. But mental health, you know, that yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, I will say, though, that they have had all these episodes be rather scatterbrained with the side characters. All the stuff with Mob is fantastic. Every episode, it seems like they tend to focus on a different set of side characters and just kind of have them in there as kind of like, hey, we just throw them in for you think. Like, Ritsu suddenly showing up along with the Body Improvement Club all at the same time felt really convenient.
But, you know...
And the fact that Emmy is, like, completely, like, not even been in the story for the last 2 episodes, that's something that, you know, seems a little bit kind of, oh, okay, I've missed her. That's you know, that's kind of a thing. But if I remember back with season 1, it took them a few episodes to set the groundwork thematically so that they could then go into the linear storyline that carried over episode to episode.
And even then, it was, you know, it started out as little mini arcs that then sort of got pieced together very nicely into an overall linear storyline.
Yeah. My big takeaway world building wise this episode was that they also continued on the thought energy thing of the guy with the curses. That thing, that, like, okay, if you think about...
Once it's a coincidence, could be a coincidence. But twice, it's like, no, this is intentional theming and stuff.
Oh, yes.
Like,
so here's the thing that excites me, though. I think that was a legitimate curse.
What Reagan gave him?
What Reagan gave him.
I think so, too.
Because it's a form of belief energy. It's the thought energy.
The thing is, Reagan probably thought of it as a curse in some small way for that guy. He's like...
Yeah, because he has to convince him.
Well, no, sure.
Like the
I'm
acting
not talking...
portion of it. This is a curse. Like him saying that. This is a curse.
Sure.
That binds the...
Right, but the whole thing of like...
But
the whole thing of like, keep it on you and, you know, maybe, you know, someday something will happen, you know.
Right,
it's
he
like
basically set the rules of what it'll do. Like,
well, but also just the idea that Reagan didn't like this guy. Right? He's like, these people exist, you know, so it could have been something of just like, yeah, I'll give him a curse thing, and now he'll be the one walking around with the curse, you know.
Like, is that what you're taking from it?
Yeah, and it could be, you know, something completely harmless, is, you know, sort of just a bit of irony that Reagan's throwing into how he deals with this, you know, bad apple customer, you know.
But wait. So you're thinking that the curse is encapsulated in whoever's holding the thing?
Well, yeah, because Reagan he gave him a curse thing, and he didn't tell it to like put it near the dude's house or, you know, or something like that. He said, keep this with you. You keep the curse with you. You don't to have it at all be connected to the person that you're actually like wanting to be cursed.
That is kind of ironic.
You know?
Crap.
And the thing is, little things like that, Mob picks up on it. You know, so
that's something interesting. So what could happen 5 or 6 episodes or maybe even like another season down the line? I think it'll happen in this season, but the news will come on. and some guy will have been like found up, washed up in a river.
I mean, they don't have to go that extreme, but they definitely could.
I think they'll go that extreme because if I'm a DM, if I'm a GM, and this kind of thing happens, and a character is like pretending there's some kind of magical qualities to something, and they're like, oh, it's not. But every character and the base of that thing has some kind of innate magical essence to them in some way. I'm gonna roll on a D100. I'm gonna roll a D100 just to see.
Yeah.
Just to see what might happen, and then I'll go, oh, that's interesting in my head,
Yeah.
Take a little note, write that down. Way later, have some connective thing to it. Not necessarily a thing where he dies in a river. You're right. That might be a bit extreme, but maybe it changes the way this guy thinks about curses because he thought that curses were an actual thing, and everyone's like, you're stupid. But then he goes to someone else that validates his beliefs. He spends so much time focused and concentrating on his beliefs.
Right.
He ends up actually being someone that either goes around cursing other people, or even worse, he ends up living a life where he sees curses around every corner, and he becomes a paranoid schizophrenic or something like that. And what
you focus on, you find. So
what you focus on, you find. I am so glad that they're going into this aspect of this because this is something that I don't know. I just grew up believing or just kind of experienced in just my life in general. Is that when you say something, when you believe something, when you focus on something,
power.
It actually becomes real. It does have power, and I'm not superstitious about this. This is just the way things seem to work. It's an example of focusing on the ball in baseball. Like, you see the pitch coming in. A lot of people, I think they actually blink or they don't follow the pitch all the way to their bat. But when you do that, amazing things happen, and that's just that doesn't work perfectly well. But
another example is if you say something about yourself long enough,
yes,
you'll
there
end
you
up
go.
believing it, right?
There you go.
So the things
Way
that you
better
say
example,
about others, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even if nothing changes with them, your opinion, your connection with them will change.
You could start believing that about them. Like even if it was just some offhand comment.
Yeah, and in fact, we don't have to look far to prove that is a thing that is very prevalent in just today's society. So, yeah.
But wow,
all right,
great
guys,
episode.
Fantastic episode. Really, really good Mob Psycho episode.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching this reaction. If you want to be involved in the discussion side of things on our Discord, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. Any level of support there gets you access to our Discord. Also, on our Patreon, we have full-length timer-based reactions for Mob Psycho 100. We don't have early access because we're doing these up as the episodes come online. But yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. Jacob's going to give a little announcement in a second here.
Because I totally forgot. I should have done this earlier in the discussion, but Battle Lines is available for pre-order, guys. My sci-fi novel. So there's signed copies that's still available as a reward until Groundhog's Day at 6 a.m. But yeah, there's a link in the pinned. There's going to be a pinned comment with a link to the Kickstarter. So go get all on that because it's really good. It's very good. But
yeah. So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.